Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I'm sure I need hardly remind you that you 6 members of the public have been selected for your impartiality. But here in Great Britain, the court's final verdict depends on the opinions of these 6 jurors. The victim's corpse was discovered in an omnibus in service on the streets of London at the time. And these gore-soaked gloves were taken from the hands of the accused when he was arrested. There were multiple witnesses to the precise moment at which the brickmaker was fatally stabbed. So that's an omnibus. The omnibus. 4 passengers seated inside in the enclosed cabin, and another 4 on the rooftop deck above. That there is a skylight in the roof, allowing a view of the interior from the seats above. As the 6 members of the jury make up their minds about the case, one by one they each cast a ball of fire into the great scales of justice. No! Stop it! Dispose of the rubbish. Die! No! What is that, 3? Damn it all! Yes, counsel. This is the blade that was driven into the victim's belly like a stake through the heart. The scabbard is emblazoned prominently with a certain initial. The letter M. Ah, dang it. I don't stand for nonsense. Die! Yeah! That's the last one. When all members of the jury have concluded that the defendant is guilty, court proceedings are suspended, and the presiding judge will deliver the final verdict and sentence. However, the defense has the right to demand a summation explanation of the jurors at this point. Bam! The defense wishes to assert its right to a summation examination, my lord. Judicial findings. The jurors' contentions. There was no one else inside the carriage at the time, so it has to have been him. I trust the driver. He has an excellent memory, it seems. 4 passengers, with fares totaling 20 pence. He stuck the chap next to him just like this. Brazen, I must say. Absolutely brazen. I have simply typed and collated all the statements made thus far and drawn the logical conclusion. You can trust the guild. Fair fares is our motto. We haven't raised prices over 4 pence for years. The scoundrel stabbing that poor man on the floor. It beggars belief. I'm starting to wish I hadn't pushed for this now. Like, damn it. Some of the jurors don't seem to have wonderfully formed arguments, though, do they? Well, let's see what we can do. We need to get these 6 people to change their minds. I'll have to throw everything I can at them and use some very persuasive language. Just a moment, Mr. Naruhodo. According to my book, that's not quite how it works. Oh? I thought I was going to have to thaw their icy mind with some heartwarming rhetoric about the defendant. Unfortunately, once the jurors have decided the defendant is guilty, they're unlikely to heed anything the defense says. But then, what do? They've reached their conclusions by their own reasoning, you see. Your pleas will sound like excuses. In fact, it could recoil on you. The more you try to persuade them, the more entrenched they may become. Then what on earth am I supposed to do, Susato? You could have told me this before. Oh dear, I'm just citing what I've read about British law, Mr. Naruhodo. Stop yelling at me! Right, I'm sorry. Do you have any idea how to make this work then? Well, from what I can understand, the key to this procedure is using the juror's own words to make your argument. Ah. What do you mean? Well, the 6 members of the jury are randomly selected members of the public. They may appear to present a united front, but the truth is, they are complete strangers who just happen to find themselves here in the courtroom together. And that's the way to break them down, you mean? Yes, exactly. We must listen very carefully to what each member of the jury says, and see if we can identify any contradictory statements. If we can. We then contrast the statements and pit the corresponding jurors against each other. Ah. I see. So it's contradictions in what two or more jurors say that we're looking for. Okay, so we're trying to find contradictions, yeah, between the different statements. In a way, then, this is similar to a regular cross-examination. Oh, yes, I suppose you're right. I should have thought of that sooner. Silly me. Find contradictions in their statements and pit the jurors against one another to break them down. Alright? I might be able to pull this off. No, that's not right. You have to. I have to pull this off. Yeah! You got this, Ryunosuke. Even if the odds seem slim. Can we stop proceedings, counsel? I would ask you to take the stand for this. I'm expecting a clear and concise rebuttal. Yes, my lord. Jury examination. The defense's rebuttal. Okay. Okay, so we can still so it is like a, whatchamacallit, we can still press them and stuff. Okay, so there's no one else inside the carriage at the time, so it has to have been him. I mean, I'm assuming he means no one but the victim. I trust the driver, he has an excellent memory, it seems. 4 passengers with fares totaling 20 pence. Okay. Let me see, is that right? 4 passengers, right? Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, so he stuck the chap next to him. Okay, that doesn't really tell us anything. You can trust the guild. Fair fares is our motto. Oh, we haven't raised prices above 4 pence for years. Okay, and what did she say? 20 pence. Okay, I think I got it. So we're gonna pit her against him, right? So how do we do this? Do I just press triangle? I'm gonna go with this. Objection. Those two statements clearly contradict each other. They do? Explain yourself, counsel. Me? Oh dear. What have I said? I swear on Silver Blaze's main and name, I haven't the first idea what you're talking about. I like this. According to the group testimony we've heard so far, there were 4 passengers on the omnibus on the night in question. And according to the coachman, Mr. Beppo, he took 20 pence in fares. Quite right. I have those precise details tightly neated here in front of me. And juror number 5 also told us the following. The fare for the omnibus is always 4 pence. That it is. A fair and convenient single price. Just the way London's carriages should be operated. But that doesn't add up at all. In fact, it leaves a glaring discrepancy in the facts. Why, man? Why? 4 passengers paying 4 pence each. If you do the multiplication... It would be 16 pence. Exactly. As I said, it doesn't add up. The figures are different. By 4 pence, in fact. Or precisely 1 person's fare. 1 person's fare? So does that mean there might be 1 more person in the carriage? Yes, in other words, on the omnibus that night, it's distinctly possible there were 5 people. There was another passenger we've heard nothing about. Good gracious. Yeah, Ryunosuke, grab him by the balls. This can't be right. The coachmen of the guild are good, honest men. One and all, trustworthiness is our watchword. The figures your coachman claims most certainly do not add up. Your watchword, good sir, is a fallacy. I don't know why my voice for her is becoming more like ouchy. She's the one who I don't know how to voice, what to give her. I beg your pardon. I feel like everybody else has settled on a voice. Mr. Guildmaster, I think you ought to consider that if this trial were to end now, the news will surely spread all over London. The news that one of your coachmen tried to hide the fact that he lets nefarious characters ride his omnibus. Oh, there you go, you got him. Alright then,
How do I make it so this miserable trial doesn't end,
Change your opinion. Change your vote. Well, according to my book here, you simply launch a ball of fire into the innocent side of the set of scales.
Now hold your horses there, coachman! We were all in agreement. Wait till I get my hands on you. Beppo!
Do it.
Fire blast!
That's what I'm talking about.
Ugh. This is all very irritating.
Begging your pardon, sir. I'm going to do the same. Yes, do it. Yay, 2. We have 2 in our favor now.
For the love of Mike! Not you as well!
A penny can be the difference between a smile and a leer, after all. I certainly can't put my trust in someone who doesn't follow my exacting standards in financial matters.
Oh, really?
I, for one, think it's only proper that we hear from the witnesses again. Oh, well done, Mr. Naruhodo, you did it! If we can manage to change 2 more jurors' minds, we can force the trial to continue. 2 more, actually. There is something else that's bothering me about a couple of their assertions. Then that's where you must strike next. So I need to pit 2 more jurors against each other and show there's another contradiction in their assertions. Exactly. You can do it.
Well, the scales of justice have shifted, but they still weigh heavy on the side of guilt. Counsel, you have the floor again. Continue with your summation examination.
Okay, so now her thing has changed. Okay, so I'm changing my leaning into innocent. I should like to hear what the slipshod bookkeeper has to say for himself.
Let's try to continue so I can get to the bottom of the corruption. Not guilty, I say.
What did she say? The scoundrel stabbing that poor man. Oh, right there. Stabbing that poor man on the floor. So it's her, and I think he said something. He said, yeah, these 2.
Objection.
There we go. Those 2 statements are completely contradictory.
What? Explain, counsel, post haste.
Oh, dearie me. I was only knitting a jumper for my other half. Oh my gosh. Why did that look like a thong or underwear?
What is all this claptrap? What does contradictory even mean, I ask you?
We've heard from more than one witness that they allegedly saw the actual moment when the defendant stabbed the victim. Now, out of curiosity, juror number 3.
What? Can't you see that I'm busy here?
How would you say the defendant stabbed the victim? What sort of motion was it?
Ha! Want to test me, do you? It was like this. Struck the fellow next to him without even getting up. Just like the firm banker said. Yes, that was Mr. Fairplay's testimony. Quite true.
Now then, juror number 6. Oh, is that me, is it? What can I do for you, young man? How would you say the defendant stabbed the victim, madam? Oh, well, dear, as far as I understand it. Yeah, it was like this. He stabbed the poor man after he collapsed on the floor. The coachman said so. Now, don't move. Take a look at these 2 jurors. Yep, they don't know what's going on. He stuck the fellow next to him without even getting up. And he stabbed the poor man after he'd collapsed on the floor.
Well, I never. They're stabbing in totally different directions. What?
Bless my stitches. What a muddle. Yeah, it looks like she's knitting underwear. What this tells us is that there's a strong possibility one of the witnesses isn't telling the truth.
Oh! But why? Why the dickens would they lie?
I don't know that yet. But what I do know is that if the trial ends at this point, we may never find out. We may never know the real truth. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, can you really let that happen in all good conscience? Lies, you say? Oh, dearie me. I can't abide people telling lies. Yes. Yes, Granny. Ooh, they're even again. The scales.
I don't believe it.
Yeah. We still need one more though, right? Wait! Now hear this, my fellow jurors. I warn you, you cannot listen to this man. For some reason. Look at him in his black suit. He's clearly some dubious Eastern sorcerer using magic on us all. Shield your eyes. If I could use magic, do you really think I'd be putting myself through all this? Answer me this, Doc Jinx. Huh? Me? What exactly is the problem? What of it if two witnesses have slightly different recollections of events? What of it? Let's say the Shylock did stab the victim as he was sat next to him on the omnibus. And this young dandy saw him do it. And now let's say the victim collapsed on the floor, and then the Shylock stabbed him again. And this old lady saw him do it. Well, what's to say it didn't happen like that,
Who are you calling a dandy, sir? Why, I should take this knife to you. If I can get it out of the desk.
Who are you calling old? Why, I should take this needle to you. I will slit your throat. Ugh, they're ready to kill each other now.
Fight, 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 fight.
But could the foreman of the jury be right? Did the two witnesses see two different moments of the same crime? Wait. Oh, shoot. You know what I was doing? I was looking down at my recording. The moment that came up, I was looking down at my recording. At my laptop. And I just pressed X to, go to the next moment. I didn't see that there was a choice there. Shoot. So I don't even know what I chose. Does the history show me? Did the two witnesses see two different methods of the same... No! I hate myself. There's an outside chance of almost anything you care to mention.
Exactly the point I've been trying to make.
Before you go any further, Mr. Naruhodo. Oh, what is it, Miss Suzuto? Are you an idiot? I think you should have a look through the court record. Please don't take a health chunk off of me. You see, this evidence makes it quite clear. There isn't even an outside chance of what the juror is saying. How did I miss that? Unfortunately, Mr. Foreman.
What is it, you Doc Jinx? Come on out with it.
What you're suggesting is impossible. It's out of the question. Man, they should have taken like 3 health chunks for that stupid display. But I'm glad they didn't.
Huh? What? What are you talking about, man? How can you possibly say that? You do realize that I'm only doing my job. As foreman of the jury, I have a responsibility to steer everyone in the right direction.
Is that so? You're not doing a good job.
So, where's your evidence, man? That's what we want to see. I say the two witnesses saw two different moments of the same crime. If you say that's out of the question, show me some proof.
Okay. Looks like the only way I'm going to convince him is to present him with something he can't dismiss. Some irrefutable hard evidence. As you wish.
What?
I'll give you the proof. It's out of the question that the two witnesses saw two different moments of the same crime. Okay. So let us think. I mean, is it this? He's slumped in a chair, right? If he was on the floor, his body would have been left on the floor. That's gotta be it, right? Oh, the music didn't stop. This clear piece of evidence. Well, Mr. Foreman? Did I really get it wrong?
Do you know what they say about me, young man? They say I've got no powers of persuasion.
Oh, I see. I'm sorry to hear that.
But no one will need persuading about this. You're even worse than me.
Like, I was so sure about that. Two different moments. In other words, the victim was stabbed 2 times. Oh, okay. I'm telling you, sometimes I just jump the gun. I mean, that seemed relative, right? Like, if he was stabbed and then fell on the floor or something, his body would have been left there. Whatever, though. He wouldn't have been able to get back up onto the seat, you know? But I guess we're going with the autopsy report, which says he was stabbed once. Yeah. Please tell me that's right. There we go. This is the victim's autopsy report. According to what's written here, Mr. Mason was stabbed in the abdomen. Only once. Only once? It's quite simple. The victim was stabbed precisely one time. Which means these witnesses can't possibly have seen it happen 2 different times. Get out. Out. I got it. Alright, I concede defeat. Yes. Come back to our side. Yay, we did it. Wait, that means 4 jurors and are leaning to not guilty? We've done it, Mr. Naruhodo. We've won! Hurrah! Yay! What are you playing at, you dandy fool? Shut your trap, sir. No one deceives me. But we had a consensus. I said, shut your trap. I know a liar when I see one. And if the chap ever dares to cross the threshold of my shop, I'll take this razor-sharp blade and shave every last hair off his head. Oh my gosh. Blah, blah, blah. Please tell me he's a barber. A demon barber, a Fleet Street, or a normal one. Well, in a quite remarkable turn of events, the defense's summation examination has flipped the balance of the scales of justice. The jurors now stand at 2 for guilty and 4 for not guilty. Accordingly, there is no longer a large enough majority among the jury for me to abdicate, and the trial must continue. Yay! We did it! We did it! Oh yeah! I hereby ask the defense, prosecution, and witnesses to return to their places. And I call upon all of you to commit to pursue the truth. Okay, are we reaching the end? Or no? This might be where I have to stop if we're still going. So, Lord Von Zykes, continue to substantiate the case for the prosecution, if you please. Or we're gonna keep going. Oh, he's bringing out the chalice. Take a sip. This is the blood of my enemies. Oh, what's he doing? Oh! Now he's getting serious. Having savored the rich aroma of the carmine contents of this hallowed chalice, it may seem crass to crush it to dust. Pray forgive the discourtesy. Lord Von Zykes! Brr. Is it cold in here, or is it just me? No, it's just you. Or I should say it's not just you. As your antiquated tome no doubt says, the prosecution may not speak during a summation examination. So I honored a deathly silence, and listened to the charade. It seems I overestimated the intelligence of the jury. Yeah, they're kind of wishy-washy. Well, no matter. There is nothing so hard to prove as a self-evident truth, it would seem. No. And why else would we grace the courtroom with our presence after all? So, let us proceed to the next round of battle. Oh, the cloak comes off. Bring forth the witnesses once more. Here they are. Witnesses, I trust you heard the summation examination we have had just to endure. Oh, yes, sir. That I did, sir. Of course I heard it. Oh, yes, sir. I heard it. You, sir, on the end. The coachman. I believe it's Beppo. Yes, sir. My lord, sir. If it transpires that in your previous testimony you were attempting to veil the presence of a 5th passenger on your omnibus, you will be found guilty of perjury. You are advised to bear that in mind, sir.
Oh mio Dio, Now then, witnesses, I hereby call on you to testify before the court again. You will explain the various misgivings brought to our attention by the defense's summation examination.
Various misgivings. I think I'm going to keep going, and we'll see. I already have a spot that I could split the episode in my head. We'll see. I might just have to split this into 2 episodes, but I kind of want to keep going to it to be continued. So let's keep going, shall we?
I only carried 4 passengers that night. I swear it, but
Well, I for one was told I had to pay 5 pence for the bus. He fiddled us on the fare, he did. And then I saw that blood-curdling sight as well. It's all too much.
I tell you, I saw McGilded stabbing that man. Everything I said before stands. Oh yes, yes, he stabbed him. Yes, he did. I think so, yes.
Okay.
Counsel, make sense of this for me, please.
The phantom 5th passenger conjured into existence by my learned Eastern friend never existed. We have to prove that there was one. The confusion has arisen from the coachman's sly little cousinage.
Beppo, explain yourself.
Oh, you're still here?
I'm terribly sorry, Guildmaster. The Guild's fare is 4 pence across the board. You know that? Am I to understand that you've been overcharging our passengers by a penny a fare? Yes. It's so cold and the last run of the day is always half empty.
You have been dishonest, coachman.
I'm sorry. You're a disgrace, Beppo. A disgrace. I shall have your head. And your selfish actions have brought dishonor on the entire guild.
If I may, sir. I had to pay 10 pence on the bus just last week.
What?
4 passengers, all 5 pence each is... Yes, 20 pence. I've done the arithmetic 10 times already, but I just can't make the result come out differently. Oh, that's not good. No, that figures. Of course.
Well, it would appear that one of the aforementioned misgivings has already been explained. So, counsel for the defense, your cross-examination, if you please.
We've already had the pleasure of a protracted summation examination today. I see you intend to continue the parlor games. Absolutely. You betcha. Various misgivings. Okay. I only carried 4 passengers that night, I swear it. But, okay, I don't think that has anything. Okay, let's press him on this. Does that mean everyone on board that night paid 5 pence instead of 4? Well, I paid 5 pence too, sir.
And I just told you that I did. A flat fare, 5 pence across the board.
It's not something to be proud of. Yeah, really. The so-called discrepancy may learn a friend identified was nothing of the sort. Much like the phantom killer you so desperately needed, it's gone, dead, and buried. I'd have been happy at it if it had ever existed in the first place. Okay. That didn't give us a much. Okay. This blood-curdling sight. You mean the murder, I presume? Yes, sir.
A loathsome sight. No one should have to witness the horror in the eyes of the man the moment his life is taken.
Oh, well, not exactly, sir. I mean, I didn't actually see the exact moment the gent was stabbed.
Good gracious. Really?
We have another witness who did, however. The banker has already testified to it. But Mr. First didn't actually see the point at which the victim was killed. That may turn out to be very significant. I heard the banker got gent next to me take a sharp intake of breath, see? That's when I looked through the glass. That's That's when I saw that horrible blade poking out from his belly all covered in blood. Every time I see a knife now, I can't help screaming. Even when I'm eating. I tell you, it's what McGill is stabbing that man. Everything I said before stands. So you saw the defendant, Mr. McGill, stabbing the victim, Mr. Mason, who was sitting next to him? That's what I said, isn't it? It was bothering me before, this was. For just a brief moment, he hesitated before answering the question. Anyway, there was only the two of them inside the carriage, wasn't there? There's been much talk of a fifth passenger, but as yet, zero evidence. Then what are we wasting all this time for, eh? It's black and white. The man's guilty. Is he now? Something about Mr. Fairplay's testimony just jars with me. I wish I could work out what it was. Okay. Earlier, you testified that you saw the moment when the defendant allegedly stabbed the victim, didn't you? Oh, yes, that's right. You said that the victim was on the floor and described the assailant holding the knife in an ice-pick grip. Maybe. I suppose. I might have, yes. Put the cart before the horse, maybe. What's this? Well, I'm quite sure about most of it. I'm quite sure you're a terrible witness. I was driving the horses when I heard a scream from the seats on the roof deck. Oh, I expect that was me, sir. Then what? I turned around, yes, I saw it through the skylight. The gentleman was on the floor and the knife was sticking up out of his midriff. That's right, yes, and the fellow holding the handle was the famous man, yes? So, in short, you didn't see the moment when the victim was actually stabbed at all? No. I really thought I did, but when I go over it again in my head... No, I suppose I didn't actually see the precise moment of the stabbing, did I? Oh, there we go. In fact, now that I come to think of it, it must already happen when I heard the scream. Ah, of course. That goes without saying. But I really wish he had said it earlier. The autopsy report makes it quite clear that the victim was stabbed only once. Yes, we figured that out earlier. Which means... the banker was witness to the fatal wound that ended Mr. Mason's life. Not long ago, this trial very nearly came to an end. Somehow, we've managed to keep our chances alive here. I can't waste this cross-examination. I have to use it to bring some new facts to light. If you're not careful when you press these witnesses, the danger is that the jury will end up believing something. Unhelpful as they did before. Maybe. But we can't let the fear of that happening stop us from uncovering important new information. I already know what I have to do. Yes, you're so right. High five. I need to pay careful attention here. I don't want to miss even a flicker of a reaction among these witnesses. Remember, if you happen to spot one of the witnesses reacting in a strange way, don't hesitate to pursue them as to the reason. Okay, so... You got something to say there? Yeah, munching on your cane there? Okay, so what do I do? Pursue.
Excuse me.
Pardon me, mister. Do you have something to say about that, Mr. Fairplay? Now you listen to me. I know what you're thinking. He didn't really see the exact moment the fellow was stabbed. What are the chances of that? Eh? Are you asking me or telling me? He's getting flustered. I might be able to extract some new information from him if I answer him cleverly. Could he have just happened to see the exact moment the crime was committed? Some days are like that. Well, it is a little hard to believe, certainly. Unless you spend your time peeping through a skylight on the top of an omnibus, that is.
Peeping? I'm a respectable city banker, I'll have you know. And I know what I saw. I remember it as clear as a Ballarat day. It was a grim scene, I don't mind telling you. Thank you, Mr. Fairplay. Oh, excuse me if it's getting a little hot under the collar there, my lord. I would ask you to supplement your testimony with a clear statement about what exactly you saw. Oh, I can do that all right. I'll tell you just how grim it was.
Yay, new info. Do you think I'd forget the sight of those blood-soaked hands after that butcher stabbed that man? The man? Is that it? Blood-soaked hands. I mean... we have the gloves. I mean, they're not... there's blood on the inside of them. I wouldn't say they're soaked, right? Like, if he was in the process of stabbing him... I don't know. But I mean, there is blood on them. Should I press him first, maybe? Let me press him and... Blood-soaked?
Ahem. Well, perhaps soaked is laying it on a little thick, but anyway, there was definitely blood all over them.
No, that's not true. Oh, there we go.
Both of them were covered in it.
And you saw that from the roof, through the skylight? See, I'm happy I pressed it.
Well, the skylight's reasonably large, so I had a pretty good view. And there was a lamp on inside the carriage as well, so I'm quite sure of what I saw.
This banker's latest statement. I feel sure there's something not quite right about it. When you feel something doesn't add up, Mr. Naruhodo, that's when you should have a good look through the court record. Okay, we read this already, blah 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 blah, yes, yes, yes. Oh, you know, it does say blood-soaked hands. I didn't even think of that until I pressed them, but it does specify both, so... let's present the obvious evidence here.
Objection!
I object to that, sir. Blood-soaked hands? I beg your pardon?
Well, I admit that soap might be laying it on a little thick, but anyway, there was definitely blood all over them. Both of them were covered in it.
Well, I'm very sorry to disagree, Mr. Fairplay, but that's more than a little peculiar.
What? Come again?
Here are the gloves worn by the defendant, Mr. McGilded, on the night in question.
Oh, yes, right.
And there certainly does appear to be a sizable dark-colored stain there. But, as I'm sure you can clearly see, it's only on the right-hand glove.
Ugh! This is tasty.
In short, Mr. Fairplay, you should change your name to Foul Play. Oh, snap. Your testimony is inconsistent.
Gah! Son of a gun. But, no. That can't be right.
Off with his head. Kill the infidel. So you're the liar here, then?
Gah! That's right. You were quite clear about it. You said, Grr! It was both hands. Grr!
Mr. Fairplay, if your last statement was a lie, it calls your entire testimony into question. You say you saw the moment the victim was stabbed, but is that really the truth?
You can't handle the truth.
Objection!
Oh, what do you have to say? Oh, he's got a nice little cravat there, I just realized. If that's what you call it. Or ascot.
It was a simple mistake. You can't justify accusing this man of lying. Yes, it wasn't both hands. It was only one. But the fact remains.
Oh, he's so cool. I love his poses.
The victim's blood was on the accused.
Objection!
No, Mr. Fairplay categorically stated that he saw blood all over both hands. Which means there's a strong possibility that this witness was deliberately trying to mislead the court.
Gah! Why? I'm a city banker, for pity's sake. My word should be the gold standard. You should all just believe me for some reason. I'm a gentleman, not some gutter snipe. Rotten little gutter snipe. Upstanding members of society don't prevaricate.
He's claiming to have no reason to lie. But is that really the case? Ah, I already know. We're gonna hit him with the book, right? Mr. Naruhodo? If we had some evidence to explain why Mr. Fairplay might be lying, it could turn the tide in this trial completely. Something to show this man has a compelling reason to lie in his testimony? Oh, there's evidence, alright. Let's pick the right one this time. My lord.
Yes, counsel?
The defense is ready to present evidence.
By Jove, are you sure?
Yes, evidence that will clearly demonstrate why Mr. Fairplay had reason to lie in his testimony.
Gah! Blast it all! Very well. I hereby call on the defense to present its evidence.
Okay, the evidence that demonstrates a motive for the witness's alleged deception to the court. Among the defendant's list of debtors is Bruce Fairplay, who would have been due to repay his loan imminently. This provides a motive, or at least a connection. But watch I'm wrong again. I'll be like, damn it!
Take that!
This is a list of the debtors who owe money to Mr. McGilded. Yes, a list of innocent victims crippled by the accused extortion. The point is, among the names of these debtors is your name, Mr. Bruce Fairplay. Yeah, so he might just be wanting to get back at McGilded, so he's kind of like running with this narrative.
What? Mr. Fairplay, are you currently indebted financially to the accused? Oh, no, well, it's barely worthy of being called a debt. Pay no heed.
According to this ledger, you owe 20 guineas. Not an inconsiderable sum of money, wouldn't you say?
Well, what of it?
Let's suppose Mr. McGilded were to be found guilty of murder. What would become of your debt in that case?
These documents state that the loan agreement is forged between two individual parties. Therefore, were the creditor, the defendant here, to be sentenced to a capital punishment, all outstanding debts which were owed to him would be annulled. They would cease to exist.
Cease to exist? The little snake? There we go, there's a motive for lying right there. Mr. Fairplay? Is it not the case that you claimed in your testimony to have seen something you never in fact saw? In a devious attempt to annul your debt of 20 guineas to the defendant?
Gah. Well, I wouldn't go that far, but yes. Gah!
Damn it, damn it, damn it, damn it, damn it, damn it!
Order, order, order! Mr. Bruce Fairplay. Yes, my lord.
Wait, what? He's saying like, oh, my lord, but he's arged at the same time.
My lord. Let me ask you again. And be aware that your answer may have most serious implications upon your future, sir. Grr. Did you or did you not see the precise moment in time at which the defendant is alleged to have thrust a knife into the victim?
Your silence speaks volumes. Liar, liar, pants on fire? You did not tell the truth in your testimony. Admit it.
Alright, now let's not make a melodrama out of this, unlike me, who's been calm this whole time. Perhaps I did overstate the truth a pinch.
A pinch? Yeah, okay.
But it makes no difference. I definitely remember seeing blood on McGilded's hands. Both of them.
Objection.
And yet, only one of the defendant's gloves, which we have here as evidence, is stained.
Grr. So you keep saying, damn it.
What do you have to say first? I wonder if I may be allowed to speak, sir?
Go ahead, Mr. First.
Well, the thing is, I think I remember seeing it myself, as it happens. Seeing what? The blood, sir. On the assailant's hands. I think. Yes. I'm almost sure that it was on both of his hands, not just one.
What?
Come again? What? Okay, you you little gutter snipe.
It would appear that we're going to need further testimony from all you witnesses. This time, I would like to know precisely what you did and what you did not see. Do I make myself perfectly clear? Yours!
Mr. Naruhodo, this is good news. The course of the trial seems to have shifted slightly at last. Yes, I might finally have a chance to turn things around here. Okay, we're gonna keep going. I'm playing this section to the end. I'm pretty certain this is gonna be 2 episodes. What the witnesses really saw. We're already approaching almost 2 hours.
There was blood on both hands of the assailant. I sincerely and distinctly remember that. However, I suppose you might say that I didn't see the exact moment the stabbing transpired, if that matters.
Oh, it does. I remember seeing the knife, and I remember seeing both of the attacker's hands with blood on them.
I didn't actually see anything myself, no. Not until I heard that scream. Anyway, the fact remains, there can't have been anyone else inside the carriage, or we all would have seen.
Is that so? Yep, fix that toupee, my lord.
Well, lo and behold. In truth of fact, not one of you has witnessed the crucial moment the crime was perpetrated. I apologize, my lord, but honestly. There was no one else inside that carriage, and the man's hands were covered in blood. That much incriminating evidence is tantamount to saying we saw the man do it.
Not exactly the same thing. That's really not what testimony is about. But, okay.
Let us examine the interior of the omnibus once more.
The victim's fresh blood is clearly visible on the seat, corroborating the witnesses' accounts. In other words, there is no substantial nor significant change in the facts of the case.
Very well. Your cross-examination, please, counsel.
Yes, my lord. Right away, my lord, sir. What the witnesses really saw.
There was blood on both hands of the assailant. I sincerely and distinctly remember that. However, I suppose you might say that I didn't...
Well, why am I reading it again like that? Oh, God. Okay. I kind of want to question him, because he's the one who brought up, you know... He remembers seeing the knife, and he remembers seeing both the attacker's hands with blood on them. I'm going to question him on that.
Hold it!
You definitely saw that too? Blood on both hands? Yes, sir. I mean, I know what you're going to say. Only one of Mr. McGilda's gloves has any signs of blood on it.
That's right.
The thing is, as far as I remember, sir, when I looked down and saw Mr. McGilda sitting beside the other fellow, I don't believe he was wearing any gloves, sir. He wasn't wearing these gloves? That's correct, sir. And I saw the blood on both his bare hands quite clearly. It's true that the dark-colored stain on the dark leather gloves wouldn't have been easy to see. True, that's a good point. I should point out that the police officer who apprehended the accused on the night in question reported there was no trace of blood on Mr. McGilda's gloved hands. There wasn't blood on his hands.
This is puzzling indeed.
This must be significant somehow, I'm sure of it. So that means that the person he saw was someone else? I'm gonna press this point.
Hold it!
And everything you saw of the incident was through the skylight on the roof of the omnibus?
That's right. It was fiercely cold that night, but the glass wasn't frosted over.
Oh yes, I remember I was shivering. It was so bitter.
Which rather begs the question of why the pair of you were sitting on the roof deck in the first place.
Yeah, good question. Maybe there wasn't enough room inside?
Well, I don't know about this young fellow, but I couldn't enter the cabin.
Oh? Why not?
It was locked from the inside. I tried knocking, but one opened the door.
Oh, no one. It was locked.
That's right, and it's a public bus service for pity's sake. That's not what I call fair play. I should know. My name's Fair Play.
Yes, we get it. Yes, I had exactly the same experience. I tried knocking, but the gent inside just gestured at me to clear off. So I had no choice but to climb up to the roof deck and look down longingly into the warm cabin below. Okay, there you go. So, clearly he didn't want anyone in there. There must have been a third person who dressed as... I guess dressed as the defendant. Well, I can assure you I wasn't just looking down, I was glaring, long and hard. And that's precisely why I can't tell you with absolute confidence that if there was anyone else in that cabin, I would have noticed. Unequivocal, I would say. I'm not sure about these two witnesses. Could they really have seen everything inside the cabin through the skylight? I would say no. Allow me to confirm one thing, Mr. Fairplay. Oh, the music died down. You were riding this omnibus. And witnessed the events in the cabin through the skylight in the floor of the upper deck. Is that right?
That's right, yes.
In that case... there is a portion of the cabin interior that would have been out of sight from you.
What?
By golly, really? Obviously at this stage we can't say for sure. But the possibility cannot be denied that at the time of the incident, there could have been another passenger in the enclosed cabin of the omnibus.
Objection!
How dare you? Enough hypothetical meandering, my Nipponese friend. The prosecution demands that you substantiate your claims. After all, the scene of the crime is here, in the flesh. Very well, I will uphold the prosecution's demand.
Okay, let's take a look.
You will identify the area on this cross-sectional plan of the omnibus. Where exactly in the omnibus are you suggesting that this potential extra passenger could have been situated?
I'm assuming right here, because if you look, the other two seats are all facing that way. So, the person in the front seat, I don't even know if they were. They might have both been sitting in that back seat. Unless they turned backwards and looked down. It's gotta be here, right? Please be right.
Take that!
Both rows of seats on the roof face in the direction of travel. Whereas the seats in the enclosed cabin face each other. Which means the visible part of the cabin which passengers on the roof deck can see through the skylight is as I've drawn here.
Ah!
That's right, my lord. As you can see, the seat opposite the one on which the victim and his attacker were sitting is obscured from view. In other words, if someone had been sitting on that seat, it's quite possible that these witnesses would have been completely unaware of it.
Grr!
Objection!
It's quite possible some phantom was sitting there. I mean, is it possible? Could the person, the third party, could they have done like a duck and roll? Like, could they have just jumped out of the, like, opened the door and jumped out of the carriage, jumped out of the carriage or something? I don't know how fast it was going. You Nipponese have a forbidding habit of obscuring the truth with ambiguity. Ambiguity, I meant to say.
I concur with the prosecution's rejoinder. In a British court of law, evidence is paramount. I cannot entertain this conjecture, counsel. That is, unless you are able to put a name to this mysterious passenger to whom you allude.
Can you, Mr. Naruhodo? Oh, shoot. I honestly don't know. Who could it have been? Looking at my people now. It's you! You were there. Oh! Oh! M, male Strongheart, he's definitely wealthy. I can see that knife being something he would have. Ooh, I think we got our guy. He has the M. Who could have been in the other seat, which was out of sight from the witnesses on the roof deck? I have an inkling. I just hit my mic. I have an inkling. I understand, my lord. The defense would like to put forward a name. Let me pour some more grape juice. You are a fool. That response was a desperate attempt by a man who has no notion of his own limitations. A toast to hard lessons not yet learned. Let us not delay, counsel. The defense is still to name the passenger in the other seat. Smack! This could be it. This could be the chance I've been waiting for to turn the trial in my favor. On that night, on the night of the murder, the person occupying the seat on the omnibus cabin that was obscured from view was Male Strongheart himself. It's gotta be, right? Please be right.
Take that!
Yes, concealed in the blind spot of the cabin that night was none other than this unexpected passenger. I'm guessing I got it wrong. Whatever so-called logic you used to arrive at that conclusion, it matters not. Because your answer has made one thing abundantly clear. Damn it, I was so sure! The real blind spot is inside your head, and it would appear to be unusually large. Ugh. You could have just said that's not right. Mr. Naruhodo, our task here is to defend Mr. McGilded, and we are working on the assumption that he is innocent of this crime. Yes, of course. Why? That must mean, then, that there was someone else inside the omnibus with Mr. McGilded, the true culprit. I'm aware of this. That's right, exactly what I've been... Oh. Of course, so the two people sitting inside the cabin that the witness saw through the skylight that night, they were the victim and the real culprit. Oh, I get what they're getting at. Yeah, okay, I get it. Okay, I get it. That's gonna be Mr. McGilded. So I guess what they're getting at is that McGilded was in the other seat. Maybe he was knocked out then. Oh, that could be, yeah. Maybe he was in the other seat, maybe he was knocked out or something. And then, maybe the real victim, you know, either stole his clothes or just dressed like him. I still think it might be male, because of the M knife. But, you know, whoever it is, the accused, or the real perpetrator, and the victim were the other two. Okay, yeah, so it is McGilded.
Take that!
There we go. The passenger in the enclosed cabin that the witnesses on the roof deck failed to see has to have been Mr. Magnus McGilded. Mr. McGilded?
What are you talking about, counsel? That's the name of the defendant.
I'm starting to understand now. Oh, jeez.
I will burn this court down. If I desecrate this chamber by smashing my hollow chalice, do forgive the discourtesy, but I am really angry. Lord von Zykes. People talk of those tiny island nations in the Far East as having a learning and culture of their own. But I see they use the terms ill-advisedly.
What are you trying to say?
Let me explain in terms that even a student of an artless backwater such as yourself might understand. When the bloody scene unfolded, the victim and his assailant were sitting side by side. Multiple witnesses have attested to the fact. It's the very premise on which the case is built.
But they never saw their faces. But that premise may be wrong.
What?
If the victim really was sitting beside Mr. McGilded, it creates an inconsistency that can't be reconciled in any way.
What inconsistency, counsel?
The defendant's gloves, my lord. Both witnesses made the same testimony. They claim that there was blood on both hands of the person sitting next to the victim.
Objection!
Yet we know the truth to be otherwise. Only one glove bears the gory remains.
Objection!
Exactly my point. The point is, even in the face of this irrefutable evidence, both witnesses have maintained their stance.
Yes, their testimony remains unchanged.
Exactly. They both adamantly swear that they clearly remember seeing blood on both hands of the assailant. In short, their memory of events is correct, and their testimony reveals the truth. So they saw a different person. It was somebody else sitting beside the victim that night, a third party we have yet to identify. And the victim's blood was on that passenger's hands, both of them.
Objection!
Makes sense to me. And who was the third party? Obviously, the true culprit.
Extraordinary. Order, 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 order. What exactly are you postulating?
Objection!
The defense's postulation is just that. Nothing more than conjecture. The witnesses have clearly stated that they saw the accused.
Objection!
But when elaborating on his testimony, Mr. Fairplay said the two of them were wearing hats and I couldn't exactly make out their faces.
Yes. The tops of their heads were obscured by the roof. I could see the rest of them, though.
Yes, that's right. Those gents were most certainly hatted. Hatters do tend to notice such things, sir.
And what particular styles of hat did the two gentlemen spot, Mr. First?
I'm afraid I don't remember. And you call yourself a hatter? Come on, man.
The style of hat makes no difference. There was no third passenger in that cabin.
How can you be sure?
Because if there had been, the accused, Mr. McGilded, would undoubtedly have offered to dispose the fact. Unless, that is, you are proposing an even more preposterous explanation. That the accused failed even to notice the presence of the third culprit in the very cabin in which he traveled.
Ah! He's right. If there was another person traveling in the enclosed cabin of the omnibus, it's inconceivable that Mr. McGilded would have been unaware of it. Like I said, Mr. McGilded might have been knocked out and just placed there.
Order! There is clearly a simple solution to this problem.
Bring the accused, Mr. McGilded, to the stand.
Well, what say you, counsel?
The prosecution objects, my lord.
On what grounds?
As a suspect, he will have already made a full statement to the police. But what if there's some reason he's unable to speak freely?
Magnus McGilded is no uneducated ruffian.
If it indeed turns out the man has been withholding information, you can be sure it will have been a most deliberate act. You don't know that for sure.
Counsel for the defense, what is your opinion?
My lord, should we ask Mr. McGilded to testify or not? I say we go for it. Yes, we need to hear what he has to say in order to find out the truth. I raise my hand. The defense would like to call Mr. McGilded to the stand. Please.
In that case, I would like to hear the opinion of the jury. Oh yes, I need a little time to consider this.
If you ask me, I think we should hear what Mr. McGilded has to say.
Get the man out here, I say! It would be utterly illogical not to hear his testimony. When something needs doing, get it done. That's how I run things at the guild.
Hearing what the patron of my favorite little park has to say, oh yes, that would be lovely.
Yes, the jury said the man must be heard.
There we go, jury. Thank you, you did something good for once.
Very well, the court will hear the defendant's testimony. Bailiff, show the defendant to the stand at once.
Please tell me we got a to be continued here. Now, maybe what actually happened that night will finally become clear. Oh, damn it. We're interviewing a whole nother witness now? Nah, I think I gotta leave well enough alone. I really was trying to see this trial through, but it's getting late. I think I'm already probably gonna split this episode into two as it is. And I just do not know how much longer. I mean, the danger being, of course, I've gone so long now that who knows how much is left. You know, like, the next episode could be, or I guess 2 episodes from now, could be, like, really short. I don't know how much longer is left, but we're over 2 hours and 15 minutes of my recording, so I think we're going to stop here. But man, things are heating up, so this is a crazy trial. So what we know is that, or basically what we just found out, is that there were 3 people in the carriage. The 2 that could be seen was obviously the victim, but then the second person wasn't Magnus, but the third party, and the Magnus was in the seat that couldn't be seen. We haven't concluded anything yet, but my guess was that he was knocked out. Although now that I'm even saying that, you think Magnus would have known that, right? Like, I mean, he would have told me, like, he would have said at some point, no, I just woke up in the seat. Like, he would have been able to tell me, unless we're going to find out now in his testimony that that's what happened. But yeah, I think I'm gonna stick to my guts. I think that it was male. The only real reason is because of the M. He's the only other person with an M in his name, and he just seems likely. He just seems like that kind of. I was saying at the beginning of this episode, like that powerful kind of corrupt figure. You know, it would make sense, and that they introduced him. He got this cool intro. Like, it just makes sense. I mean, that's really all I have is the M-shaped knife. That seems like something he would carry. I don't know if we saw him with anything like that, when we met him in the last episode. Or 2 episodes ago, whatever it's going to end up being. But yeah, so, I mean, this is a really fun trial. Again, though, it seems like this is just going to be a trial at the rate this is going. I don't know if we're going to, at some point, conclude the proceedings and go to an investigation. I don't think so, because everything happened in this carriage, right? So I don't think that's necessary. It's almost like like I said, it's almost like they kind of put the investigation just in the middle of the trial, since it's such a closed space. It's funny because I said the last truck case wasn't closed because it was in 2 rooms in a hallway. This is literally in a single room. This investigation. It's fun though. It's cool. I like the jury stuff. They added that new game mechanic I really liked with the jury. It's wild. I can't wait to conclude this. I don't know how much is longer in the case itself. We obviously we're not at the point where we know who did it. And I don't know how much longer is left in this section. I hope I don't come back and it's like, 20 minutes again and then a to be continued, but who knows? I mean, the next episode might be slightly less time. I don't know. We'll see. But I really appreciate you guys watching. Please go ahead and like the video if you're enjoying it. Subscribe to the channel to support me. I'd really appreciate it. Also, hit that notification bell if you want to know when more of these Ace Attorney episodes go up. Share this video or any of my videos or my channel in general. That would really be appreciated, and I would be grateful, and it would really help me. And lastly, comment down below your thoughts so far on what's happening in this case, in this series, in general. Just, of course, keep it spoiler free, but I'd love to hear from you guys. So thanks again so much for watching. Take care, and bye-bye.